We are so excited to have some great partners of our Career Services Office. They have helped us in numerous ways, from mock interviews. They've participated in our Educators Expo for years, and we are really thankful for their support and partnership. So we want to go ahead and start by just asking these people to introduce themselves to us, and we just want you to tell us a little bit about the work you do for AISD.
Hey guys, well, I'll go ahead and start. Can everybody hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Oh, very good. Awesome. Hey, well, I'm Chris Tatum. I'm the Executive Director of HR for Amarillo ISD, and I'm really, really pleased to be here. So happy that we can be on, either if it's recorded or if you guys are live right now. We just really want to reach out as AISD, reach out there to you. We don't get to do this face-to-face. I guess this is about as good as we can get, but we hire tons and tons and tons of buffs. About 70% of our hires every year in the district, in any position we have in the district, are all from right there in Canyon, all from WT. So we're excited. Yeah, there you go. Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
So we're excited to be here. My job is just to kind of make sure the HR office just runs. And, in days of a global pandemic, sometimes that's a little bit exasperating. So, but again, glad to be here. And really, I'm just going to kind of step back, and Mr. Manchee, Miss Atkinson, they're going to introduce themselves, and they're going to really answer your questions about anything that you have here. So, but again, glad you're here. And I hope I give every one of you guys, let me see, there's about 16 of you. Hope we all get you a job this year. How about that? Who's next? David or Karen?
Hey guys, my name is David Manchee. I am the Director of Secondary Personnel. I'm finishing my first year working in the HR office. I've been a principal the last 7 years before this, and it's been great getting to work with people down at WT. They do a great job preparing you for the job that we're going to ask you to do to help our kids get better. And I'm looking forward to getting to meet you, get to learn about you through the interview process and read about you in your applications. And I know we're all going to tell you this throughout the day, but if there's anything we can ever do to help you, reach out, call, email, and we'd be happy to do what we can do to help.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Atkinson. I'm the Director of Elementary Principal, or Elementary Candidates. Oh my gosh, I'm tired at the end of the day, I can tell you that much. Elementary personnel, I'm really excited to be here to visit with all of you, even if it is virtually. I like the in-person so much better, but I understand that's just not something we can do right now, because I want you all to be safe so that you can be in our classrooms in the fall. Excited to see your applications. And again, as Mr. Manchee said, if there's anything that we can do to help you, please reach out to us at any time.
Okay, great. So would you all tell us a little bit about the culture at AISD and what you think really distinguishes your district?
I'm going to tell you, I did not start in Amarillo. I coached and taught for 8 years in Plainview, but the first opportunity I had to get to Amarillo, I came because I knew from the outside it looked like a place where teachers were supported, where kids were cared about. It didn't matter what school you were at, people were going to help each other be successful. And that was the view from the outside. I'm going to tell you, when I got to work on the inside and to be an employee at AISD, it's very much that and more. Anytime you ever need help, whether it's in your building or it's in another building, there are people who want to help you succeed. I've been thankful for teachers at other campuses, administrators at other campuses, the support we've got from the ESC, because the true number one thing is student success. And we know we can't be successful without supporting and helping our teachers.
And I think it speaks volumes that I'm not from Amarillo, Texas. I'm not from Texas at all. I got recruited at a teacher's fair in Greeley, and that was 33 years ago, and I am still here. And I have never thought once about moving to another school district, joining somewhere else. They've helped me, they've supported me, they've given me immense learning opportunities to grow professionally as an educator. And so everything that they've done in my career has been over the top. And that's the kind of district that I want to work for. I hear horror stories at other places, and I don't have any of those horror stories to tell at all.
And I'll jump in, and I told you I'd back out, but every now and then I got to jump in. So, so really, we were talking right before you guys all came in, and just here's a little bit about culture in our district. When this happened, everybody's on spring break, when this pandemic popped up, and all of a sudden, we have about 5,500 employees, and we had about 5,500 employees roll their sleeves up, get busy, get going. And really in the last month, we've provided over 160,000 meals to students. And really not even just to students, to really anybody 18 or under. All of our staff is amazing, not just the teachers, not just the counselors, principals, custodians, it doesn't matter. They're all amazing. But one thing is everybody jumps in a time of need, everybody, and across the nation that's happening. But I'm gonna tell you, in a district our size, that's rare. It's rare for that family, that really cool cohesiveness. We had an issue where we needed some help in one specific area of handing out food. I sent an email out to about 150 staff members, and 120 of them emailed back within about 30 minutes and said, please let me help. I don't care. I want to go out. I want to do whatever. You tell me what you need me to do, and I'm going to go do it. So that right there kind of speaks to the culture of Amarillo ISD.
That's so cool. Such a neat story. Okay, so are there a few benefits that you would like to highlight that you think are specific to your district, some neat programs or some real benefits for new teachers who join your district?
I'll go. First of all, we have new hire orientation before the year starts, and that would be August 6th and August 7th. That's before your regular contract starts. So great thing about it is we actually pay you a stipend for attending those 2 days. We get you trained up in some of the basics and essentials that you'll need to start your school year, as well as give you some time on campus. Throughout the year, as a first-year teacher, you will have a mentor who will be with you and support you along the way. You can ask those silly questions that you're afraid to ask anybody else, like, is there really a pool in the basement? Those kind of things. And they're like, no, but find out where the copier is, how to get staples. But also they're going to come in and observe you teaching. And they're not going to be evaluative, but they're going to help you grow as a professional. And you'll also have the opportunity to go view them while they are teaching. That's an experienced veteran. So that you can see some of the practices, instructional methodologies, procedures, routines, everything that they put to work in the classroom. The other thing is that we have an immense staff development department with our core curriculum specialists, and you will be trained in everything that you've ever wanted to know. That's one thing I've always bragged about with Amarillo ISD is we have extensive training in-house, and what we don't offer in-house, Region 16's in our backyard. So we have the best of both worlds to get you prepared for the classroom.
I just want to echo what Karen said is the opportunity to not only collaborate with people in your grade level or in your department on campus is great. And I wish I would have had that when I started teaching, but being a large district, you get the opportunity to collaborate with people across the district who are working with all different types of situations with kids and backgrounds, and you get to learn what works. You get a lot of ideas that, just importantly, what doesn't work, so I don't waste my time on something that we've seen is not successful. We have some core curriculum specialists who help organize and keep us all on the same page, so you're not out there floundering. I remember the first class I taught said, okay, what am I teaching? Well, you're teaching this math class. Okay, what do I teach? Well, here's a book. Okay, well, what's important? Well, here's the book. And it was just kind of me on my own floundering, and you're not going to be in that situation here. There's going to be people that will support you and help you get what you need, help you understand what you need to go be successful.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask the next two questions at the same time, and then you could decide how you'd like to address these. But the first question was, what type of openings do you currently have in the district? And then the second question was, which of your schools and what subjects do you have the greatest need?
Generally in secondary, I'm going to tell you, we'll be looking for math teachers, science teachers, ELA teachers all throughout the summer. We don't individually post many jobs. We have a job opening that's open year round for secondary teacher district-wide and elementary teacher district-wide. And so you're welcome to put in an application for that position anytime. And whether you're English, math, science, social studies, career, whatever it happens to be, when a principal has a job opening, as long as you've gone through that application process, you completed those steps, I can get your name out to principals. They can see your online video interview, and that's a great thing. We also have in the district that our initial interview is online, so we're not missing out the opportunity to get to meet you and know you and get your name to principals. We can get you out there right now. We've started hiring. I've probably hired 15 or 20 teachers in the last week or so. As far as where job openings are, they're all across the district. I don't really have one specific school that's loaded with needs. It's really spread out. It's spread out across all different subject areas. The opportunities are there, and we just want you to get the application process started and let us get to know you better.
And in the elementary world, I have a little bit of everything. What starts out as a first grade position could end up being a fifth grade English language arts by the time my principals move their staff around to where they feel is what's best for kids. And so I have everything from pre-K all the way through to fifth grade, every single subject, self-contained, departmentalized, you name it. But also we have an application out there for special ed teacher. So please make sure that if you're interested in elementary or secondary that you apply for those. But also if you're interested in special education and going to have that certification, please apply for special ed. That's a whole separate posting. And each one requires a separate video interview because there's different questions asked for the elementary level, secondary level, and then of course for special education. So we want you to have every single opportunity. Principals are checking all the time. They're looking at the applicants and they're not only seeing your application, they're looking at your references, which go out automatically when you submit your app. They're looking at your video interview, and we also have the educator professional inventory that you are required to do as a step of the process. And that gives them a picture of you just a little bit differently. And they also look at that. So they're looking at the whole candidate. I will tell you, since it's social distancing, the interview part is just a little bit different this year. We're really depending upon those video interviews as a good tool for our press to use because they're going to have to video interview or do something like that anyway. So please, when you complete that video interview, make it your very, very best. Professional and professional dress, professional setup, try and be away from noises and distractions. And, you know, we were just in one conference where a lady forgot to mute her mic and her dog was barking through a good portion of it. And so just be aware of what you're doing in that video interview because we're relying heavily on those as well.
Thank you. Okay, so what specific instructions do you have for students who are seeking employment in the district? So you've touched on the interview process, but as far as the application process and qualifications and so forth, could you tell me a little bit about how the application process works? And Kim, who is our moderator, she's going to actually put in the chat for our students the website that students need to go to where they would apply if they wanted to join AISD. So if you'll tell us a little more about that, we would appreciate it.
You want me to go, Mr. Manchee?
Either way. You're on a roll.
All you need to do is go to our website, www.amaisd.org. There is a little part up there at the top that you'll click on that says employment, and make sure you go to prospective employees. Click on that and a page might pull up, or you might get the other drop-down list to the side. But you can have it all in 3 easy steps is what we have on our website. So you click there, you create an account in Talent Ed if you haven't already, and you do the entire application process. The application is first. We do really appreciate those of you that upload, if you're an alternative certification, either test scores that show that you passed the content test, or if you're in the regular track, if you upload that letter that you get from Dr. Garcia that says that you're eligible to teach next year. That just helps us when we're vetting candidates. Make sure you have the correct email addresses of your references because as soon as you hit submit, those reference checks go out to them. So it's very important to have that correct email address. One thing I can strongly say is please look over your application before you submit it. I'm that ex-English teacher, but I can tell you principals are really picky about this. If they see a lot of grammatical errors, that turns them off right there on your application. Don't use all lowercase and don't use all uppercase. Use the standards of grammar and make sure that everything is correct. Don't spell principal with a PLE, please. We get those, believe it or not. I'm not telling you anything that we don't see. And the name of the principal is misspelled, the name of the campus is misspelled, and make sure that your references are just not friends and family, that it's your cooperating teacher or somebody that's at least seen you interact with children. Friends and family, they're always going to give you a good reference, you know, and if a friend doesn't give you a good reference, then maybe we should tell you so that you're not friends with them anymore. But make sure that you have professional references down there. Complete the educator professional inventory after that. I promise it is not a test. It is an inventory. It's a lot like Gallup. Complete that. As soon as you do that, then Mr. Manchee and I will send you an interview link to complete your video interview. And so just do your best on that. Once you complete that and we view it, and please understand, we get multiple completed applications with videos every single day. So it's not like a half-hour process. When you finish that, you become a candidate. It does take us some time to vet every single applicant and go through those interviews, but we'll change you to candidate status as soon as possible. As soon as we do, when you're at candidate status, that every principal in Amarillo ISD can see all parts of your application, including your EPI and your video interview.
And I would say on your video interview, be very professional. I know Karen touched on this a little bit, but you would be amazed at some of the videos we see. Not dressed totally. Liquor bottles behind them in the videos. Make sure that where you're sitting is in a professional setting. You're dressed professional, just like you're at a regular interview. You conduct it like a regular interview, and be professional in the conversation you have. But let us see you. Let us see your passion. Let us see your commitment to your learning and to learning of kids. And that's what's going to sell you not only to us, but sell you to the principals when they start deciding who it is they want to interview.
And this
Karen,
is in that video interview, I'm sorry, but we've got to see your heart in that interview. That's the most important thing. So you just can't be a robot in that interview and give us textbook responses. We've got to see your heart. I'm sorry, Chris.
Hey, no worries. Hey, I'm trying to monitor the chat over here and the questions on the side. Victoria had a really good question. And we typically address this as, you know, when you have an interview with a campus and then another interview a few days later, what's the appropriate way to tell the first principal, hey, I have one, and if it's within our district, we kind of have a certain set of rules, and if it's out of our district, what's the second set? So one of you guys, would y'all walk through that for them?
If I talk to you, or if a principal talks to you and wants to offer you a job, and I give you a call and say, hey, X school wants to offer you a position, and you have an interview with somebody else in our district, we want to honor that opportunity if it's something that's coming up relatively quick. I mean, if it's 2 weeks down the road, then we're probably going to say, well, we got to make a decision. But if it's relatively quick, we're going to give you the opportunity to have that interview. It's good exposure for you. It's good opportunities for you to learn about different campuses. And if both schools are going to offer you a position, we're going to give you the opportunity to choose. If I have a campus that offers you a job and you tell me you have an interview in another district, I'm probably going to be a little tighter on time because I'm worried about our district and I'm worried about our kids, and I want to make sure we take care of them. And so it's going to be a pretty quick turnaround because you have obviously impressed that principal to the point where they want to offer you the job over somebody else. And we want to get you in because of that. And if another fit is better for you, then we want to give the principal the next best opportunity to get the next fit.
And realize we don't always know the exact candidate list that our principals are interviewing. So when we call and offer a job to you, you have to be honest with us and let us know that which ones you have interviewed with so far, as well as what ones you have waiting in the wings and where those are. please be honest with us, because sometimes, like if there are 3 different interviews you've been to, but your heart's really, really set on one, you walked away with a great feeling and you know that's where you want to be, then I will contact the principal for you and say that, you know, they've decided not to come to your interview. They have chosen a position in another campus. I caution you about that because you want to have opportunities, but hey, you also want a job. And when you feel the right fit and you know that's it, then take the job. Just don't leave us hanging with another district. And the other important part of that, if you verbally accept with Pampa, Canyon, Hereford, Dumas, anywhere, if you verbally accept with them over the phone or verbally accept with us, you do not keep interviewing with other districts. And we have several that they accept a job at Borger or in Dumas, and they keep interviewing with the Amarillo AISD, and we're all good friends. The HR system is close, and we let each other know, and you can find yourself without a job completely because you were already offered a verbal contract. I'm not going to offer you a position. It's up to that district if they want to take that offer back.
Oh my goodness, such good advice, y'all. So the next question we have, and I think that this might help with one of the questions that was asked in the chat, but our next question was, how should a candidate follow up on their application? And just to piggyback on that, there's a student that has asked, you know, after applying, what's an appropriate way to show your initiative?
That's a great question, especially during this COVID thing.
Mm-hmm.
And email's great at this time. Honestly, we'd always say handwritten rules, and just because I keep those on my desk and I remember people, you can still do that, but I don't know if mail is getting delivered to campuses in a timely manner or not anymore. So I would say, as of right now, an email is just fine. If you tell them, thank you for the interview, I really appreciate it. If you have any more questions of me, you're more than welcome to contact me at X number or whatever. So I think right now during this time, an email is very appropriate. As far as a phone call, that's going to be hit or miss too. And their secretaries are in the office some, but not all the time. And the principals are like crazy busy right now, making sure packets get out and whatnot. So phone call is going to be hit and miss. So your best bet's probably going to be an email.
And I would also say it's a fair question to ask when you're having that interview, all of us in with what questions do you have for us? And you certainly want to have questions about the campus and about the culture like we've talked about here, because they're being interviewed by you just as much as you're being interviewed by them, because you want to find the best fit. But a very fair question is, can you kind of give me a time frame on what you're thinking on filling this position? Because you have that right to know as you're working on other interviews as well, is am I going to get an answer within a day, within a week? What is kind of the time frame, so I know as I'm accepting other interviews or having conversations with other principals about openings? So that's a fair question to ask. And then I agree with Karen, a follow up with an email. It's always nice. It's a good refresher in my mind when I was a principal that, yeah, that was a great person I talked to, and they care enough to follow up and ask good questions and care about the job they're trying to get.
And one thing, can I say, if you don't get that first job and you're going, oh, this is my dream job and this is where I want to be, and you don't happen to get that job, y'all don't give up. I have 37 fabulous elementaries, and that may have felt right, but I promise you, if it's not that one, then it's going to be the next one. I didn't always get the ones that I thought, oh, surely I'm going to get this one. And I got a different position. And I can tell you there's a reason why, you know, so just trust in that and don't be disappointed. And you could go on 4 or 5 interviews and it may not be until number 6. Please don't get discouraged. Just keep going.
So good. So you talked about some of the things that you don't want to see in an application. You talked about misspelled words and the, you know, principle that you're very sensitive about that one. So I appreciate that. And thank you for sharing that with our students.
Can I add one more thing before you go on?
Oh yeah, sure.
About on the application, and when you upload your cover letter or your resume, make sure you put the right district that you're applying to, because it's kind of hard to look at. I'm applying to Amarillo ISD, but I'm sending this to Dumas because it's the same letter I sent to every district. make sure you read back over it and personalize it to the right people. That shows that attention to detail that we want and that principals want as they're working with their kids.
Oh my goodness, you guys are just saying all the right things for our career services heart. So we are so thankful for all the good advice you're giving. So I wondered about like qualities and information you're looking for when you're looking at a student's application. If you're looking at sending those to a principal and you're looking at a resume, you're looking at a student's application, what are some of the things that our students should make sure they're highlighting on their resumes, applications, etc.?
I will say one thing that I've noticed lately in some of the virtual fairs that we've done is they don't list their certification area on their resume. That drives me crazy. It is on the application and there's a space for you to put that in your preferences. But please have that on your resume as well, what you're going to be certified in. And if you're not in ESL, or ESL certified, you can always put that you plan on taking that whenever the testing centers reopen, but you plan having that done within the next year, something like that. Resumes, nice and neat. Make sure that you use some sort of resume builder, or I know Career Services does a great job with that. So make sure they're nice, neat, printable, easy to read. You don't have to have everything on there, but please make sure that it's concise and it gives all the information that we definitely need to see about you.
And I would add to that and say, when you're building that resume or that application, and for all of us here, we're building it for an education position, tell us about educational experiences working with kids. It's interesting to see some of the job histories that we get to look at. And I know some of them are limited coming from students because that's what they've had opportunities to do. But I want to know what you've done with kids. I want to know where you've put yourself out there to volunteer to help those around you get better, whether it's learning or taking care of them and keeping them safe. That helps us understand that you do have the heart and you do have the passion for kids.
That is so good. So you spoke earlier about, if they were interviewing at multiple schools. So I think you've answered this question, but just to confirm, the question is, should students apply for more than one opening? They've got this dream job at one school. Should they just apply for that school, or do you recommend that they cast a wide net?
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Our applications, you can only apply, we don't post them individually unless they're a specialized position. So when you apply for teacher EC5, you are eligible for every campus, every grade level in which you're certified. So you don't have to apply for a specific position. The only one in elementary world that I have posted separately is bilingual teacher.
Okay.
And exactly what I was going to say. I have a few positions that are specialized. Like I'm looking for a French teacher for a specific campus. If you fit that specific need, then you want to apply for that specific job. But for the vast majority of our jobs, it's just what Karen said. It's a secondary teacher, or it's an elementary teacher. And it reemphasizes what Karen said earlier. Make sure you put what your certification is in, because when you apply for that secondary teacher, I've got 100 different certification areas you could fit under, and you're going to have to help me identify where you fit to best get you to principals for their needs when they have them open up.
And if you're
Go ahead.
And if you're EC6 and you really want secondary too, or be considered, don't forget to put it in that secondary application, because 6th grade fits in the secondary world.
And there are a lot of principals that love that EC through 6 certification for their 6th graders, because they know you're well-rounded and they know you can help support reading. And I'm a math guy, and that hurts my heart to say, but if we don't get our kids better reading when they're younger, it's not going to matter what they do when they get older.
But apply for elementary first.
Hey, just something, as I'm kind of listening through, I know we usually hit some of these things when we talk, but as you apply and as you start going through the process, think about your social media presence. Think about your online presence. Think about what if you applied and I just decided, hey, I'm going to go look you up on Facebook. What am I going to see? Am I going to see you out there with a bunch of pictures with a red Solo cup, whether it's orange juice or not? Or is it something else? Or am I going to see you doing a bunch of things you shouldn't? Or going to see a bunch of crazy posts? Or when you do your email, when you have your email, is it going to be hotmama@msnbc.com, instead of your first name dot last name? So think about those things when you're applying, and when you when you have your message, don't have some crazy music going on when your message is, leave something professional, because we're going to be calling you. And a lot of times we call you from numbers that are blocked. Okay. I don't know why that is, but it just comes up as blocked, and you won't know who they are. You probably won't answer them. You're going to send them to voicemail, and we're going to leave a message. And if you have some crazy something on your machine, that tells you how old I am, on your voicemail, just that we're going to look at, we're going to, oh my gosh, is this somebody that I want in front of my kids? So really think about that. And when we hire you, okay, and again, we want to hire all you guys, but when we hire you, you have to think about that as well. Parents, the first thing they do when they get that first that kindergarten or that pre-K or that freshman teacher, that parent is going to look you up on Facebook, and they're going to creep on you like nobody's business. They're going to want to figure out who you are and what you're about. So really think about cleaning all that up. I used to always say, if you don't want your great grandmother or your preacher or your 6-year-old niece, looking at that type of stuff, okay, don't have it out there posted. So.
Such good advice. So you all talked about the interview already and about how much you're going to be relying on the video interviews. And you talked about students recording this in the professional space and being dressed professionally. And essentially you're evaluating a candidate based on this. But do you have any other interview tips? Let's say that miraculously Amarillo opens back up next week and we are able to bring students onto your campuses to interview for jobs. Can you give us just a couple of interview tips for our students?
On the video interviews, one thing that I forgot is if you have a smoke detector or carbon monoxide, the battery's going out, please don't let that beep through the entire interview. It's like a dog whistle to me. And so we're not kidding when we say these things. It happens all the time. If you do get to go to a campus to interview, again, professional dress and attire. I always say, ladies and gentlemen, do put the outfit on beforehand, sit in it, because you're going to be sitting down for an interview. Make sure you're still comfortable, that it's not something that you're pulling and grabbing throughout the interview, that it's appropriate. And, we don't want shirts way down here, see through, all that other good stuff. I know Buddy Fox used to say, just say no to crack. Well, we say the same thing to, we don't want to see here. We don't want to see your belly. So please make sure that things are covered and just go in with a professional attitude. We always get the question, do I need to take my portfolio? So many of you have a portfolio online now. So if you have a little card that has the email address or the web address of your portfolio, you are more than welcome to leave that with the interview team. Also, I always say, take resumes with you. Yes, we can get it from your application, but sometimes principals run out of time. So it's always good for you to bring those yourself. That way you're assured everybody gets to see your resume. You can't do the application, you can't bring that, and they've seen it. But we do want you to bring the resume. Bring you. When I say it's hard in that video interview to let your heart show, you've got to let it happen in that in-person interview also. So let your heart show. I can teach you things where if you don't know something, you say, I don't know. Just tell us you don't know, because we have fabulous training. We just want to know that you're willing to learn. And that's what it takes to be a great teacher.
Say keep your eye contact, whether it's video or whether it's in person. Keep your eye contact on your audience. Know who it is that you're talking to. Speak confident. Speak honest. If you're not honest, we're gonna know. Mr. Tatum's got his phone hanging up there. Leave that thing put up in your pocket, in your car. It doesn't need to be out, because just to reiterate what he's doing, I've done interviews where people are doing this on their phone while they're answering questions. And it's like, what's the most important thing to you right now? Is it trying to get this job, or is it whatever text happens to be coming across the screen? And again, to what Karen said, you got to let us see your heart. We got to know why you want to do this job. And this is a hard job. It's a great profession. It's very rewarding, but it matters every day, and it matters every day to those kids. And my kids have been through school. I've got one more that's still going through, and his teachers matter because it's shaping his future. And you got to show us your heart that you care about those kids, and you're going to work hard to help them be successful.
Also in that video interview, we talked a little bit about a professional setting. Y'all, we've seen interviews in the bathroom. We've seen it on the bed with dirty clothes. We've seen it on the bed propped up with pillows like this. You know, there's one that I always say that's okay that doesn't seem professional, and that's in a car. Sometimes that's the quietest place you can get to in your house is in your car. And it's easy to set your phone up in there. If that's where it's the most quiet and allows you to think, then that does not bother us at all. But bathrooms are not appropriate. Laying on the bed is not appropriate. Having a bunch of dirty clothes, things like that around you, that's not appropriate either.
I'd like to just offer up here for our students that when we are back in the office, we're all working from home right now, but when we are back in the office, if you need a place to record your video interview, we could reserve our conference room for you to use. And so there are places on campus, you may have roommates or 3 dogs, and it just might not be feasible for you to get a really good video quality in your house. So just know that that is something that we'd like to offer you. You can just contact our office for more information about that. So based on all of your previous experience, I think it's really neat. You've been in the classroom, you've been principals, etc. I just want to say, like, if you were to say, just give us 2 or 3 qualities that you're most looking for when you're hiring a new teacher, what would you say those qualities are?
Somebody who's got some energy, somebody who cares about kids, and they're passionate about those kids learning. That to me is what I look for, because like Karen said a second ago, we have people who can help train you and help you improve your skills. We can help you improve your knowledge if you're willing to learn. I can't make you like kids, and if you have a passion for kids being successful, we can help you get better.
And I always do my little thing. I've got a chain that has very special things on there that I've kept for a long time. But one is this little bitty teeny tiny smiley face ring, which obviously doesn't not fit me. That's why it's on a chain. But I always look for the Miss Jelniker factor. She was my favorite teacher growing up, and I was blessed to have her for 2 years in elementary school. She was creative. She was understanding. I wasn't the easiest student to have. I was very ADHD, and she just said we didn't have those words. It was FUN back then. But she was creative. She dealt with me. I went through a hard time when my parents were getting divorced, and she held me to the highest standards and expectations still by understanding what was going on. She was phenomenal, the way that she delivered instruction to all modalities. I look for that Mrs. Jelniker factor in everybody's interview that I watch, because that's who I want in our classrooms. I want that teacher. I want somebody that's amazing, that when you're my age and you had her clear back in the 70s, that you go, wow, that's the kind of teacher that made an impact that I still keep in touch with to this day. So have that in your heart, in your head. That's who you want to be. You want to be that teacher that all of you know that you've experienced at some time in your life, I'm hoping, that's been that stellar teacher that you go, that's the teacher I want to be like.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. You guys all know what good teachers look like and what not so good teachers look like. And you want to be that good teacher. And that's what we look for. We have that knowledge. We've done this for years and years, probably between the 3 of us, 70 years worth of 80 years, 90 years worth of knowledge here in Karen House. No, never mind. But I wouldn't ask that. So what I also want to say is, really what I look for is the WT Buff brand after your name, because WT does an amazing job of getting you guys ready, whether it's the traditional route, okay, in the education department or the EPP route or the alt-cert route with PISA. They do an amazing job of getting you guys ready for the classroom. So really, for me, that's a huge bonus. When I see WT behind your name or anything out there in that A&M system, I know that you have a quality education and really you're ready to walk into the classroom. So that's a huge bonus that you guys have over a lot of other candidates.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to share some closing thoughts. But before that, think about that. If there's anything you want to say or I should have asked you that I didn't. In the meantime, Kim, I guess you have been sort of monitoring the chat for us. Are there any questions that we need to ask them before we finish?
Mr. Tatum has done a fabulous job of answering their questions. So
way to multitask.
I don't know that we do. Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Okay, awesome. Also, you all go ahead and then I'll have some closing remarks before the students depart, but any last pieces of advice or good information you want to share?
I would say get that application in if you have not done so. If there's things you need to update as you getting closer to graduation and getting closer to your certificate posting, update those. Sometimes we put in applications February or March and we haven't gone back to look at them. And so when principals are panicking, like, oh my gosh, I got to find somebody, there are times they look at updated profiles. And so go in and update that information because that kind of moves you to the top of the list when they're looking at those things. And keep everything current. Karen said this earlier, make sure email addresses are right, make sure phone numbers are right, because sometimes when they call to check references, if they can't get somebody, they think, well, is this really a reference worth talking to, or is this a reference they made up? And we want to make sure that you have the right information so we can talk to the right people about you.
I just want to say I love this profession and I've loved every step that I've had with the district. From being a teacher in the classroom, which I will always miss. That's why I got into this deal in the first place, was to be around kids. I loved it. It's ironic, the other day we're ordering cupcakes, and when I was given my name and I gave my last name, there was a pause, and the guy on the other end of the phone said, "Is this Miss Atkinson?" I mean, it'll happen to you for the rest of your life, but it's the coolest thing. And now they're showing me pictures of their kids, so I get to grandma. You don't get anything else like this in any other profession. And so I just want to say you are entering a field that is second to none, and the lives that you touch, that will come back to you tenfold. I know everybody says about the salary, but hey, our salary is almost $50,000, and that's for 187 days. That's an amazing salary. Heck, I started out at 18 and I thought I was making good money. But also our board of trustees, they pay a more than fair share of your benefits to try and keep that low for you. It ends up being around $6,000 to $6,200. And we are self-funded since we are a large district. And I think that's important for y'all to know. That may not mean anything right now, you just want a job, but when you look at salaries, when you're offered a job, make sure you look at that because that is part of your salary. But all I have to say is enjoy the process, know that you're going into the best profession ever, and that you are going to be highly successful. And there are days that you're going to want to come out and cry and go, why in the world did I do this? But also I want you to keep a journal when you teach. And this is something I wish I would have done, because you're going to have to write down those great moments, because there are going to be some hard days and you want to look back at some of those great moments and go, this is why, because those will be 90% and the other ones will be 10%. And you've got to remember how good it is all the time.
And well, Karen stole my thunder just a little bit, because they always do the good mushy, all that fun stuff. And I get to come in with a little bit of a bang here. I'm going to tell you, we're going to be over $50,000 annually next year for our teachers. And I know there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now. But really what we're predicting is first year teachers coming with a zero experience, which would be you guys, you're going to make over $50,000. I didn't do that until I got into administration. And that wasn't that long ago. So this is a great profession to be in. And Karen said it as well. We have a fantastic board of trustees that puts full faith in our teachers, and really in our staff, but specifically our teachers. They give you autonomy to teach in the classroom. Now, you're going to get guided on what you need to teach and some things, but you have, as a teacher, you have autonomy in the classroom to make the decisions that you think is best for your kiddos. And she hit on benefits as well. Like me right now, I pay $0 a month for my health insurance. Okay. You go other places and you're going to pay $700 to $1,000 a month for your health insurance. And when you start thinking about salaries, we have a great salary package, a great benefit package. It can't be beat anywhere in the Panhandle, really anywhere in the entire West Texas region if you take out Midland and Odessa, but you can't afford to live there, so nobody wants to live there. So, but we're going to hire about 200 teachers this year, probably a few less than we have in the last few years, but 200 teachers. We need every one of you guys. So get your applications in, get it rolling, get it started, and let's get you on board quickly.
Wow, I'm just so grateful for you all. One of the students said thank you for being here and giving us valuable information, and so I think that's really special that our students are acknowledging the time that you gave us and that you brought 3 people from your team to really speak to the different areas. So thank you for the investment that you've made in our students. I'd like to speak for just a second to the students that are on this call. Here's what I want you to know from Career Services. If you are applying for jobs and you're not getting any calls for interviews, there are probably some problems with your application materials, and we can help with that. If you're getting lots of interviews and no offers, that's probably means that you're struggling during the interview process, and we can help with that. We have a mock interview program. We can give you some feedback for that. And I know that you're like, it doesn't look like anybody's working at WT, but we are. We are busting it at home, people. So we are still meeting with students through Zoom calls. So if you want to polish that resume before you apply for AISD or for any district, just know that we would love to meet with you. You can set up an appointment through the Handshake system. I think Kim told me earlier today that we have 1,100, Kim, am I right? 1,100 teaching positions posted in Handshake right now. And so lots of positions for you to look at. So make sure that you're out there and you're seeing all the different opportunities that are available. Some of you may have plans to relocate to another area. So just know that Handshake is a great place for that. That's also where you go to make the appointments with us. And I also want you to know that we are in the process, we've been offering what we call a career services webinar series. And so it's all kinds of resume workshops and interviewing workshops. And so we plan to repeat those workshops. We've done those. We're trying to get those finished before the end of this semester. We're doing that on Zoom. You register in Handshake, but we plan to repeat those over the summer. So if you want some help, you're like, goodness, yeah, tell me what to do. How do I prepare for an interview? We promise you, you don't just say to yourself, I'm bad at interviewing, it's just the way I am. You're teachers for the love, right? You can get better at anything if you work at it. And so we want you to get better at that, and we can teach you and give you some skills to practice that. So students, we are so proud that you're here. We thank you for taking this initiative. It says something about your character that you spent this afternoon listening to this. So thank you so much. And AISD, thank you. We are fans. You inspired me. It's like, where do I sign up? How can I teach? So anyway, so thank you for your time this afternoon. Students, you are free to exit the call now. AISD, if you'll hang around for just a minute, we'd love to visit with you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.